Hey, it's Belle, and I'm really glad that you're joining me today. Today, I'm going to talk about something that can completely shift how you experience life and how you experience the world. And this is all around the power of your language. This has been a huge focus of mine over the past few years. How am I speaking to myself? What are the nuances in my words? What's serving me and what isn't? And if you've ever been stuck in your head and you're doubting yourself or you're feeling like you're just not enough, the words that we are using when we are thinking that are not words that are helping us. The way that we talk to ourselves matters, yet not many of us stop to look at the subtleties in our language and how we're speaking. And we've all been there thinking things like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never figure it out, or why can somebody else do it better than me? And not only does that thought hold you back, but also the way you speak to yourself has a huge impact on the outcome that you achieve. So today, that's what I'm diving into. I want to dive into why the language you use with yourself is so important and how shifting that language can completely change not only your mindset, but also your results. So if you're ready to start getting out of your head and start building with confidence and living life with more courage, then you're in the right place. So let's start by talking about the power of language. So why is language so powerful? What you say to yourself in your mind and out loud has a huge impact on your confidence. It has a huge impact on your actions and ultimately on your life. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough or that something's too hard, guess what? You're reinforcing the belief that it's true. But when you shift your language to be more empowering and when you start speaking to yourself like a coach or coaching yourself through processes or ways of thinking, everything changes. So when you stop being the critic in your life, everything changes and you start to believe that you can handle challenges and that you're capable, and you look at things more like opportunities than as things that are holding you back. And when you can do that constantly, you start to build that muscle of success because your language shapes your reality. And here's where high performers understand the magic. It's not just about negative and positive language. It's about the small words that you say to yourself on a daily basis. The repeated words that you say out loud or in your head that play a huge role in your outcomes. Now, these words can be subtle, but they're also really telling. So I'm talking about words like try or busy or don't have enough time or I'm not motivated or if I can, I will, or I'll see how it goes. All of these types of words. So what are words like this that you use? And how, when you think about it, are they holding you back? So do you know how many of these words you're using daily? Because when somebody who is aware speaks, their language is intentional. They don't say, I'll try and do this. They say, I will do this. And if they do say that, they'll be quick to correct and go, hang on, I don't like what I said there, or that's not what I meant. And they'll rephrase. So they don't say things like, I'm too busy. They may think to themselves, is this a priority for me now? And it's these subtle shifts in our language that bring about immediate changes in our mindset. And when we can do that, all of a sudden, our performance levers start to change. And this is where the shift is so important. When we go from negative or disempowering language to really empowering language, we really start to become aware of not only what we want to achieve, but also the outcomes that we want. So the next time you catch yourself thinking something negative or self-critical, just pause or reflect and ask yourself, is this helping me? Is this the truth? Do I have evidence that this is true? So instead of saying something like, I'm terrible at this, ask yourself, what's one small thing I could do to get better? Instead of thinking, I'll never figure this out, think, I'm learning. I know more today than what I did yesterday. And for today, that may be enough. Instead of saying, I'll try and find the time, if it's something important to you, flip it to, where in my week do I have the time? And the key is to shift your language to one that supports your growth. And if you don't want to do something, that's okay, but just be intentional about why you don't want to do it. It doesn't align with my goals. It's not a priority for me right now. And every time you start to speak in a way that empowers you and you use this positive language, you reinforce the belief that you have. And you start to see yourself as someone who is more capable, more worthy of success, and more resilient. So it's not just about changing your words, When you do this, you start to change your identity. And this is where high performance comes in. High performers don't just talk about their goals. They speak as if they're already the person who is on their way to achieving these goals. So they're intentional. So instead of saying, I want to be a high performer, they say, I am a high performer. And language like this creates identity. And when you shift your language and you shift the way you see yourself, you start to shift your identity. And this is all about being really intentional and stepping into the version of yourself that you want to be. I want to talk to you now about the impact of shifting your self-talk. So how you talk to yourself directly impacts how you show up in the world. So if you're hard on yourself, if you're constantly doubting your ability, you'll start acting and making decisions from that place. And you'll hold back. You'll second guess your decisions. You'll avoid taking action because you don't believe that you can handle it and you don't believe in the decisions that you've made. But when you choose to speak to yourself with compassion or with encouragement or with decisiveness, you start to show up that way, more confident, more focused, and more capable. But this is a discipline that gets you there. You won't wake up all of a sudden and go, I'm confident. You need to constantly step into that fear of feeling a little bit uncomfortable and step into that new version of you. And this is where discipline comes in. Being really disciplined about your language is super important. Knowing that the way you talk to yourself affects your performance. Because self-talk is built around growth, resilience, and empowerment. So instead of thinking about what you can't do, high performers will think about what they can do. Instead of doubting, they'll practice. Instead of being overwhelmed, they'll work on building structures that will support them. And this is what creates that discipline. It's not about being perfect, it's about progression, and progression through action and language. And I can tell you from experience, the more you practice, the more natural it will start to feel, and you'll start shifting from negative self-talk to positive, empowering language. And that is when your confidence will skyrocket. So I want you to think about today and take a moment to go, okay, what would happen if I changed my language? How would you feel if you started saying, I'm capable, instead of, I can't do this? What would change if you stopped thinking, I'm not good enough, and started thinking, I'm getting better every day? Because the impact of shifting your language goes beyond just feeling better. It changes how you show up, how you take action, and how you experience your life. And for high performers, the way they speak to themselves is a key component in the routine that they set up for themselves daily. They don't just focus on their performance, they focus on all the areas that make them better: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Because you need to choose language that fuels your energy and focus. And you need to align your words with your vision and speak as if you are already the person that you want to be. So today, I want to challenge you to start by catching those thoughts that aren't serving you and flipping them to something more empowering. And speak to yourself like you would speak to a friend, with confidence and with belief. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, you're the one who decides what your language does for you. So speak to yourself in a way that lifts you up and be your biggest supporter. Be your own coach. And this is how to build a mindset that works for you, not against you. Until next time, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life every day. Your coach, Belle.